acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the State Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Department of Education, Secretary of State's office, and notice has been given to the State House Press Corps, the Governor's Office, and the State Board Agenda subscribers. And as a quorum is present, this meeting will now come to order. May I please have a motion? Thank you, Board Member Bennett. May I please have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. And now that all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And whereas, in order to protect the personal privacy and to avoid situations wherein the public interest might be disturbed, the Open Public Meetings Act permits public bodies to exclude the public from that portion of the meeting at which certain matters are discussed. Now, therefore, be it resolved that consistent with the provision of NJSA 10:4-12B, the State Board of Education will now adjourn to executive session to discuss personnel and legal matters. May I please have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you very much. Dr. Johnson, may I please have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Board Member Bennett. Appreciate it. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Any opposed? No. I'm not saying no. I'm saying there's nothing opposed. All right. We will now go into executive session, and we plan to be back here by 10 a.m. Thank you so much, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today, for those of you in person and those of you online. I'd like to reconvene, please, to resume our public meeting portion. Whereas consistent with the provision of NJSA 10:4-12B, the State Board of Education will now adjourn from executive session and resume the open session portion of our meeting. May I please have a motion? Thank you very much, Board Member Bennett. May I please have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Board Member Fernaro. And happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? And we go forward. May I please ask Board Member Keenan if you would lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Board Member Keenan. Okay. As board meetings are accessible to the public for viewing on the YouTube channel, I would like to advise that the YouTube provides readily accessible language translations options with closed captioning. If you are viewing this simulcast now, you can use the setting option in YouTube for information with subtitles, automatic translations, and closed captioning in multiple languages. And now I'd like to please ask that we have a motion for the approval of the minutes from July 10th, 2024. I have a motion? Thank you.
Motion.
A second I hear from Board Member Bennett. Any discussions about the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have no abstentions necessary for missing last month. For the month of August, the State Board of Education will receive public testimony on Chapter 30, evaluation of the performance of school districts, and Chapter 5, regulatory equivalency and waiver. The State Board will also receive public testimony on the discussion resolution to amend State Board of Education public testimony procedures. State Board members Arcilio Aponte, Joseph Ricca, Mary Bennett, Jack Fernaro are scheduled to hear testimony today. We also have Claudine Keenan and myself staying to hear public testimony. For the month of September, the board has scheduled an open topic public testimony opportunity, meaning that registered members of the public may offer public testimony on any educational matter of their preference. State board members Ronald Butcher, Ned Johnson, Ahmed Shahada, and Jeanette Pena are all scheduled to hear testimony in the month of September. We have a wonderful board student representative here today, and I'd like to introduce Anna Paskowitz again and welcome you. She is visiting us from her high school in Palmyra of Burlington County. Her advisors are Ms. Kelly Jones and Ms. Kim Martino. Are you here? Could you please stand if you're here? And if you'd be so kind as to share them. Thank you.
Thank you, President Goldenberg, and good morning, everyone. This past month, the New Jersey Association of Student Councils hosted their annual Leadership Training Conference, or LTC for short. This conference was held at the College of New Jersey, and over the course of 2 3-day sessions, included 181 delegates from 60 different middle and high schools across the state. LTC is the longest continuously running leadership conference in the nation, the Association of High School Councils, to create an overnight conference to train future leaders. From September 2nd to September 4th of 1956, the first LTC was held at Camp Wapalani, Stoke State Forest in Branchville, New Jersey. A staff of 20 hosted approximately 130 students from across New Jersey and the conference was a success. Given the positive feedback it received in its first year, LTC became an annual conference, training leaders for years to come. After 4 years at Camp Wapelani, LTC moved to YMCA's Camp Ralph S. Mason in Blairstown, New Jersey, where it would stay for over 25 years. It was when the conference moved to Fairview Lake YMCA Camp in Stillwater, New Jersey, that it began to transform into the LTC that exists today. Whereas in the past, when senior counselors consisted of teachers and administrators, it transitioned to over 90% senior counselors being previous delegates of LTC and previous state officers of NJASC. These volunteers came from all different fields of leadership, including healthcare, arts, entertainment, government and politics, and more. It was also at Fairview Lake where LTC edited its curriculum to some of what we see today, taking suggestions from delegates to adapt to the times. In 2007, LTC made 2 changes. Because the conference was held in the beginning of September, many student athletes weren't able to attend due to preparation for fall sports. Therefore, NJASC moved the conference from September to July, allowing more student delegates involved in a wide variety of sports and activities to attend LTC. Additionally, LTC also moved to the campus of TCNJ. Since then, the conference has remained there, keeping many traditions of the past while evolving the curriculum and activities with the times. Today, the itinerary is packed full of educational and social experiences for student delegates during their 3-day, 2-night stays. Senior counselor volunteers teach on a variety of leadership-related topics, including public speaking, communication skills, leadership styles, project planning, and more, which prepares students to become the next generation of leaders. These classes provide students with new skills and ideas they can take back to their own schools and incorporate into their clubs and activities to improve and enhance experiences for their fellow students. Former delegates can also pass on what they have learned at LTC by serving as volunteer junior counselors. In addition to classes, LTC offers bonding activities where delegates interact with each other in a fun, more casual way. On day 1, there is an opening assembly where NJA's annual theme is presented. This year, the state officers chose Ignite, which stands for Illuminating Greatness, Nurturing Innovation, Transforming Experiences. We feel that this is a strong statement of NJASC's goals for the coming year. Get Acquainted games, JC Jukebox, and JC Rock are other fun activities run by the junior counselors to help delegates socialize and make new friends. A favorite is the LTC Games, where the coveted prize is the Sportsmanship Award, which focuses on inclusivity and kindness. At the conclusion of the conference, there is a leadership carnival, where delegates play games such as trivia to put their newly learned leadership skills to work. Historically, LTC has also had strong traditions that staff and delegates look forward to each year. Possibly the most anticipated tradition of the conference is the birthday dinner and dance. Every year, delegates and staff dress up for pictures and enjoy a classic Thanksgiving meal to celebrate yet another year of LTC. The dinner always ends with the singing of a song called Peace that dates back to the first years of the conference, and of course includes cupcakes and the singing of Happy Birthday. After that, there is a dance where delegates have fun and socialize with friends they have made from schools across the state. The strength of the LTC program is clearly demonstrated through its resilience and customs of bringing people together, though not without struggle. When the COVID pandemic occurred, the NJASC was faced with a hard decision: how to continue to teach valuable leadership skills to students across the state in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. After much deliberation and careful planning, LTC Virtual occurred, where for one day students were taught the same classes as in-person LTC from the safety of their own homes. After 2 years of virtual LTC, 3 one-day sessions were held in 2022 as a way to incorporate social activities back into LTC alongside the workshops while still being safe. In 2023, LTC was proud to revive itself to the 3-day program it once was. This year, LTC Advanced, a program for returning delegates, returned for the first time since the COVID pandemic. This program contains the same social events as regular LTC. However, the workshop curriculum is focused on creating a project based on the needs the delegates see in their schools and making a project as valuable and as strong as possible. LTC looks forward to watching more and more delegates participate in its advanced program in the years to come. NJASC's LTC has been inspiring young leaders of all types, student council members, sports team captains, club officers, and other student leaders, and it will continue to do for years to come. At LTC, lifelong bonds are formed and leadership skills are developed. As one principal said, LTC offers a unique opportunity to learn valuable leadership and life skills. Students come back with energy and enthusiasm to make our school community a better place and are able to motivate peers while having a smooth dialogue with administrators and teachers. We are proud to have successfully run our first student for NJSC State Office, and I believe attending LTC gave her the ability to win the election. Nicole Karash, a former student council board member, said, "This was definitely a life-changing opportunity, so you should grab it while you can." I believe she speaks on behalf of all students I have worked with that attended LTC. LTC can be a fantastic social and learning experience for students and administrators alike. This year's conference was a huge success, and I would greatly recommend that interested middle or high school students in New Jersey consider attending. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It sounds like a marvelous experience and a wonderful opportunity for students to learn leadership skills. I don't know if anyone else wants to comment on that, but I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner, do you?
So I want to say, as a former student representative on the student council myself, we had nothing like this. I came from another state, so obviously a much better model in New Jersey. So I didn't know that this existed, and this is really exciting to learn about. So really cool, and keep it since 1956. That's amazing. So really great work, and I hope to see you in a few years as one of those volunteers keeping up the tradition.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there quite a bit more participation after the COVID change from virtual to actually being able to participate in person? Did you note a lot of the differentials, or?
Yes, a little bit. We're definitely growing back.
Good. And I understand you have a very special guest in the audience, Jennifer Paskowitz, your mom. If you would stand and be recognized for your daughter's accomplishments. Thank you. You've done a wonderful job raising a tremendous person. Okay. And now we'll continue to our committee reports. Our policy committee board member Bob Roth is our chairperson, and I believe you have a report to offer.
I do. Can you hear me? Great.
Yes.
Okay. This policy committee met on July 26, 2024. The state board members in attendance were myself, chair, Kathy Goldenberg, ex officio, Mary Beth Berry, Mary Bennett, and Jeanette Henner. Department staff in attendance were Kevin Damer, Laura Console, Jesse Young, Samantha Price, Kayla Secular, Jordan Schiff, Robert Gregory, Paula Bloom, Carla Spates, Kathy Ealing, Diana Pasculi, Diane Schoner, Beth Auerswald, and Stephanie Russo. The agenda for the day was dealing with CUSAC versus ESSA as a background. Chapter 30, evaluation of the performance of school districts, and CUSAC revisions was also included. As I said, the policy committee met on July 26th to discuss the department's proposed revisions to the Every Student Succeeds Act, which is known as ESSA, as the state plan, and the proposed amendments to Chapter 30, which contains the Quality Single Accountability Continuum, or CUSAC, regulations and district performance reviews. We also discussed where the SF state plan and CUSAC intersect and how they differ. And I'm going to stop there because I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about it today. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Board Member Bobrow. Appreciate this summary. And if I could ask, please, Chairperson for the Continuing Technical and Education Committee, CTE Committee, Mary Beth Berry, to speak about that committee meeting. Thank you.
Yes, good morning, everyone. The CTE committee met on July 25th to discuss the new Career and Technical Education Scholar Award program and receive an update on the transition from career programs to CTE programs of study that are supported by Perkins Hub. At our July 25th meeting, state board members in attendance included myself and President Kathy Goldenberg, Jack Bonaro, and Jeanette Hensley. Department staff in attendance via teleconference included Laura Casol, Samantha Price, Kayla Stryker, Jesse Young, Jordan Schiff, Lisa Haverhill, Kathy Paquette, Diane Schoner, Beth Arswald, and Stephanie Rousseau. At this meeting, we also learned about recent additions of industry recognized credentials for architecture and construction, as well as the department's new system for school districts to submit their existing and new industry recognized credential programs to study for review. Lastly, the department discussed the work opportunity gap related to programs of study and training that the department staff received from advanced CTE so that they can perform a gap analysis on state level data to identify areas of over or under representation of student group enrollment in CTE programs. We also revisited the issue of students with disabilities enrolled in CTE programs of study and career programs on how both can play an important role in students' successful transition to adulthood. We look forward to continued conversation regarding this last topic on how to make sure we're providing the best opportunities for students with CTE programs who have special needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I have one announcement. The Sheila Y. Oliver Civic Association held its inaugural Sheila Y. Oliver Legacy Brunch on Saturday, July 20th, 2024 at the Valley Regency in Clifton, New Jersey. This landmark event honored the extraordinary life and enduring legacy of the late Lieutenant Governor Sheila Y. Oliver. State Board Member Mary Bennett was also recognized along with 10 other inspiring women leaders from New Jersey to celebrate the trailblazing efforts of women who have broken barriers and support the association. Sheila Y. Oliver Civic Association's mission is to empower underserved communities and to cultivate the next generation of female leaders. On behalf of the entire State Board, I congratulate Board Member Mary Bennett for this much-deserved honor. Thank you. Okay, and now we'll turn the meeting over to Commissioner Kevin Damer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We do not have any commissioners' reports this month, so if it's all right, we'll move right into our agenda items. And the first item on the agenda is appointments. Today I present 3 candidates for appointment. The first is Samantha Price to the position of Assistant Commissioner for the Division of Legal and External Services, and she will report directly to me as Acting Commissioner of Education. The second nominee is David Corso, who will serve in the position of Assistant Commissioner for the Division of Finance and Business Services, again reporting to me as Acting Commissioner of Education. And finally, Allie Cobb as Director of the Office of Charter and Renaissance Schools, and she will report to the Assistant Commissioner for the Division of Field Support Services. Madam President, I'll turn it back to you for discussion for these nominations.
Thank you so much. So we had the honor of speaking this morning quite a bit about the three candidates in executive, and I would like to at this time ask for a motion to accept the three candidates as a bundle. So moved from Board Member Bennett. May I please have a second?
Second.
Thank you from Vice President Dr. Johnson. And if there's any further discussion at this time, we had quite a bit of it today, so I understand if there isn't. All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please let us know at this time. Okay, the motion passes wholeheartedly. Congratulations.
Please stand up.
We're going to be. Thank you all. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great work to continue. Okay.
And welcome back to two of you. Moving to the next agenda item, certification of school districts. There are two school districts to present. Since the July State Board meeting, the Executive County Superintendents have finalized 4 NJQSAC evaluations of districts. I'm recommending 2 of those districts for certification. Dr. Jordan Schiff and Ms. Carla Spates are here from the Division of Field Support and Services to address any questions that you might have. The 2 districts that we are recommending are Margate City School District in Atlantic County and Lyndhurst Public School District in Bergen County.
Thank you. We're available for your questions.
Board members, do we have questions at this time? I know we received our information. Anyone who's remote? Any questions? I believe Mary Beth Berry has a question.
I just wanted to make the point that I'm looking forward to our conversation later on in the meeting regarding QSAC. I think it's really important that we're looking at districts and having a high standard so that we are making sure that our students have every opportunity they can. So, thank you.
Agreed.
Any other comments at this time? All right, could I please have a motion to certify the 2 mentioned districts, which are Margate City School District in Atlantic County and Lyndhurst Public School District in Bergen? May I have a motion? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. May I please have a second? Second. I believe I heard Board Member Finaro second this. Any discussion at this time? Other? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please say so. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next agenda item, resolution to appoint state special education advisory council members. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, requires each state to establish a state special education advisory council charged to provide input on the provision of special education services to students with disabilities in the state. By law, the council is mandated to reflect the demographic diversity of the state and include individuals actively involved in or concerned with the education of children with disabilities. Today, I'm pleased to present the reappointment of 11 returning members and the appointment of 4 new members. And we've got Kathy Ailing, Esquire, Assistant Commissioner of the Division of Educational Services, here to respond to any questions. And before we get to that, I will read through the names. We have, again, 11 reappointments and 4 new appointments. The 11 reappointments include Dr. Paul Barbado, who is the chairperson, Dr. Harold Abraham, Dr. Pamela Brillante, Mr. John Worthington, Dr. Dorothy McMullen, Miss Elizabeth Alves, Dr. Margaret McDonald, Mr. Scott Long Azel, Dr. Cynthia Defina, Miss Jocelyn Gottlieb, Miss Jennifer Veccarelli. And we have 4 new appointments. Those include Gladezu Trotman, Sonia Bertini, Diane Perez, and Amanda Villarm. And I'll turn it over to you for any questions.
Thank you. I've had the pleasure of going to several meetings for this group, and I know about 5 of them. They're very hard workers, passionate individuals, always there for the students and what's best, and interesting discussions. That's all I can contribute at this time regarding this, but I do know that they're necessary and very important individuals to assure student rights and needs. Is there anybody else who would like to offer any comments or questions? All right, hearing none at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to accept the appointed state special education advisory council members in totality, not one at a time. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. I believe I heard Board Member Bennett first, and the second I'm going to go to Board Member Mary Beth Berry, as I heard her next. Again, I'll give the opportunity for any comments or questions. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We're going to move to the next agenda item, and I'll invite Dr. Jordan Schiff and Lisa Harrell to come up to help address any questions. Today, I present for adoption the recommendation to adjust the implementation date for the New Jersey Student Learning Standards in Mathematics to September of 2025. The implementation adjustment allows school districts to allocate finite resources required for curricular revisions, instructional materials, and professional learning across 2 distinct years. Again, Dr. Jordan Schiff and Ms. Lisa Harbo here to address any questions you may have.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're available to the board's questions.
Well, do you want to talk about the, well, I guess it's adoption, but to reiterate the rationale behind this
Sure.
movement? Thank you.
Yeah, so originally we had the implementation of the student learning standards for both ELA and mathematics during its revision process to be implemented this school year, or fiscal year 25, during the 24-25 school year. Hearing from a variety of stakeholders who expressed concerns about capacity in terms of the need to staff up and make sure that you have the right type of training to build the capacity for the 2 largest curriculum areas that we support, English language arts and mathematics, that was the challenge to do both of them simultaneously. As a result, the commissioner has recommended to the board during discussion, as well as what we have for adoption today, to delay the implementation of the student learning standards for mathematics to be implemented during the 25-26 school year. It does not restrict a district from implementing if they choose to do so right away, but the requirement is that ELA will be implemented this school year and mathematics will be implemented no later than next school year. Thank you.
And under this proposal, when would be the next time in our sequencing that we would look for math again to be reviewed and looked at?
Sure. Currently, Chapter 8 requires that every 5 years is the cycle for the revision to every standard.
So 5 years from 24, when it was originally scheduled, or 5 years from 25 under this proposal?
It would be 5 years from the implementation period.
From 2025.
Right. That's correct.
All right. Any other questions, please?
Just to reiterate, that's to separate those two from having to be concurrent again. So they'll be a year behind each other, ELA and math.
That's who we are, but we are going to be presenting revisions to Chapter 8, which controls that. So we will have conversations about that cycle as we move forward.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions from our remote board members or? Hearing none. I did hear from the field, that some of them, do we have any idea how many districts actually began implementation ahead of this new ruling or new proposal?
Only anecdotally, we don't have definitive numbers for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, may I please have a motion to accept this proposal?
So moved.
Thank you, Board Member Bennett. May I please have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I think I heard Jack Pinara's voice first. All those, any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions at this time? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Moving to our next agenda item, today I present for readoption Chapter 22, Student Residency, which establishes the process for determining the public school a student is eligible to attend free of charge and the procedures to follow when a student is deemed ineligible for attendance. I'm proposing one agency-initiated change upon adoption that will improve internal consistency and ensure the rules are aligned with the current statutes. Dave Corso, Assistant Commissioner for the Division of Field Services, and Alan Dupree, the Director of the Office of School Finance, are here to present an overview of the readoption and the amendments and explain the change upon adoption and respond to any other questions you may have.
Thanks, Acting Commissioner. So as the Acting Commissioner indicated, these rules are up for readoption and it's the adoption level. We refer to these as the student residency rules. The rules establish procedures for districts to determine students' eligibility to attend a particular school free of charge based on the student's residency. The rules establish the process for charging tuition for students who are ineligible for free attendance. The rules also include exceptions for non-resident students to attend a school district free of charge under limited circumstances, and the rules apply only to parent paid tuition. They don't apply to tuition between school districts. The proposed amendments, the summary is there was a public law passed in 2023, Public Law 2023, Chapter 61. It removed the language at the code that allows districts to admit non-residents free of charge, which means that districts have to charge tuition. And the proposed amendment repeals NJAC 6A22-3.2H8, which states that a district can admit non-residents without the payment of tuition. So it removed the ability for a district to not charge tuition. There was a new rule for clarification and consistency. The rule states that a Board of Education must apply its residency requirements in a consistent manner for all students, whether the student is enrolled in the district schools, a charter school, or an out-of-district placement. So we need to make one amendment to this rule. Essentially, if we go down to I, we forgot to take out we forgot to take or without tuition. So we needed to take that word out. So it says if removal is based on the student's move from the school district, the notice of ineligibility shall also provide information as to whether the school district policy permits continued attendance with tuition. That means that it has to charge tuition for students who move from the school district during the school year.
Just to add, so this one last change, because of that statutory change, the allowance to accept students without tuition is no longer prohibited under this revised statute. It was changed everywhere else. This one instance we caught going through the OAL process, and this one was just missed. So we're doing this as an agency-initiated change to be consistent with the statute and the rest of the regulations. So that's all that this is for in terms of an agency-initiated change at this stage.
So if I understand, this change is to fulfill the legal parameters by the state of New Jersey or by federal? I'm sorry, I'm still trying to.
So last year, state law changed. It says you can no longer accept students without paying tuition. Everywhere else in this chapter, as previously presented, we made that change. We missed this one instance in making those edits. So making this change is now in alignment with both state law and the rest of the regulations as proposed.
Right. And I know there'd been discussion in the past, sir, about students who, teachers, and I guess the district had allowed perhaps at times if they were children of teachers. And so now this would prohibit them from getting to go there without paying something.
So I'll turn it over and maybe Alan
Well,
can.
so my understanding is this is basically for, go ahead, Alan.
So that statute that passed in 2023 specifically has an exception for the teachers, for the children of teachers who work but do not live in that district. So the district would still have the option of allowing those students to attend without paying tuition.
And that's typically done by board.
It's a board
Yeah,
approved
it's a board
locally,
approved,
sure.
yes.
I just didn't know if this would inhibit local boards of education from having that
No.
authority.
No, they still have that
They-
authority.
Okay, okay. Any other questions from our board members at this time, please?
Yes, just for clarification, because I guess I saw that in other locations, and so I just want a little more clarification, because I know I've worked in districts where if a student is transferring out of a district, like maybe later on, halfway through the school year or beyond, districts have allowed them to finish out the school year in that district so it wouldn't disrupt their educational process. Is this saying that that no longer is going to be an available option?
It would not be an available option without charging tuition. And that's not a change in the regulation per se, that's just consistent with the statute that passed in 2023.
Because we used to
Yeah.
allow, if
Yeah,
a
yeah,
parent moved in May and the school goes until June, I know local decision again to be notified so now they would pay a prorated month or something? Is that this?
Something
Yes,
of that nature,
something-
yes.
Yes. Because before this, I know from being in the district, before this law passed, exactly what you said, Dr. Johnson, is if a student was in his senior year and the family moved out of district, the district was able to permitted to allow them to finish. This law makes them now have to pay.
Can you kind of explain the rationale behind that? Was there like cost?
The law?
Cost prohibitions that districts were experiencing? So I don't think this happened like extensively.
I don't think we can really explain why the legislature passed a law in that manner. They did have some carve-outs, but that just was not one of them.
Because they already paid property taxes or rent at that point. I don't know. if they were in district. It seems harsh, but
Yeah, thank you.
thank you. Any other questions, comments? Do I see a hand up? I'm sorry, there's Arcelio, you have your hand up, sir.
Yeah, I did. Thank you, Madam President. I just want to clarify that what we're voting on is to be consistent or aligned to the statute that we are voting to be in compliance. And so this language that's proposed today just confirms that we will be in compliance once we vote on this once we vote on this item. Is that
Right. That's
just
right.
my understanding is correct there?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So that with that law change, we had to go through and revise these regulations, and we're now, with adoption, we'd now be in compliance with the revised statute.
Thank you, Arcelio.
Thank you.
That was Board Member Aponte, sorry. Thank you. Okay, hearing no other comments or, oh, I'm sorry, Mary Beth Berry, would you like to speak?
Yeah.
Our Board Member Berry would like to speak.
I just need to make sure I fully understand this. I understand there is a law in place, but if there's a senior in high school, they've spent all their years in a particular school. Upon if the family moves, that young person, the only way they could remain there would be for the family to pay tuition. Is that correct? Am I hearing that correct?
Correct.
Yes,
Yes.
sorry.
Do we have any idea on how many kids that could possibly be affecting?
We don't. No, we don't. It's district by district. And it's situation by situation, so we wouldn't, almost certainly we don't have a data collection for that.
So if I'm a district, 100 in Central, a young person moves, family moves, they invested so many of their years and time there. The school district could decide how much they were charging, or is it is a stipulated rate?
So this, under the law, the school district has to define a quote unquote uniform tuition rate that they would have to charge. It's not specified in the statute. It's a rate that gets determined by the school district, by the Board of Education, but it has to be uniformly applied to all non-resident students.
So it'd be prorated based on the cost of each student as opposed to the superintendent and the board saying, they've got 2 months left and we're going to charge them $2 or whatever.
Correct.
It has to be with the amount that the state says their cost per student is.
It's the tuition rate is determined by the Board of Education. So a Board of Education could say the uniform rate will be $1 if they want to, if that got approved. But it's a locally determined rate, not determined by the state.
Oh,
So
there is
if
still
I-
flexibility.
so clarify. The uniform rate, so the uniform rate for that young person who has been in that school for the last 12 years, that district, and somebody who just moved in, oh, well, if they moved in, I don't know. I just struggle with that poor kid that's probably their life is already upheavaled to not be able to finish in a school because of a financial concern a family may have.
So, and again, this is to, when a family moves out, the rationale here is, I think, from a strict financial perspective. If you move out of the district of residence, then your eligibility to attend that district is bound by this agreement with the Board of Education. Previously, they could allow that student to complete that with no payment. You stop paying property taxes when you move out of that district. So this is making up for that cost borne by the other taxpayers in the district when you move out, and would allow you to continue if you make up that difference. But, or if the board were to accept students for the entire year, using that set rate of tuition throughout the whole school year if they were to choose. So this is just setting up the parameter, statutory parameter. Essentially, it seems like providing some consistency, because I do think a lot of this across the state was, because it was set by board policies, there was a diversity. So some districts previously may have charged to complete that school year, where others may not have, and this is making it a consistent state rule. All we're doing is being compliant with that state law, which is what's before us right now.
Mary Beth, your hand is still up. Are you?
So I don't really, if we're looking at compliance with state law, I guess I'm kind of, we really don't have any choice in this. It's about being compliant.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay.
So, say for example, if it's a choice district and they have available seats, would that be an option for a student to then transfer over to school choice?
That's actually a separate statute
Yeah.
because under the school choice law, a choice district is not allowed to charge tuition for non-resident students.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, would that be an option for them to transfer if they had an open seat without paying tuition?
I believe that would be allowable if they had an open
If
seat.
they have an open seat.
No place to live.
So let me clarify your question. Are you talking about if the student is transferring, if the district where the student is a choice district and stays there?
And they move out of the district and they have a slot available. Instead of having to pay tuition, would they then be able to become a choice student without tuition for the remainder of that year? And subsequently, if they are approved the first time, they could continue as a choice student, right?
If it's a choice district, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other thoughts at this time? The legislation was put forth, do we know by whom or when?
It was put forth during the 2022-23 legislative session. I believe that the Senate sponsor was Senator Sarlo. I do not recall who was the Assembly sponsor.
Thank you. Okay. I guess it's time that we just,
Madam President, I'm
sorry.
sorry, just not to belabor the point, but I thought Vice President Johnson's question was a really good question, and we may want to give the department some time to come back to us with a response based on further discussions regarding that question, because I think there's some nuances between the choice district and a student moving to a different district. So, but that's not what we're voting on today. So I would recommend that we proceed with the voting, but give the department a chance to respond to that question with a little bit more time to give it some thought. Just a recommendation.
So I appreciate the recommendation. What we will do is, and make sure that we've completely vetted that out. I mean, this is obviously getting into some severely nuanced, issues with laws that layer over each other. But I think the broad answer is that the choice statute has provisions for charging tuition that are separate and apart from what's included here. But very much appreciate the point. What we'll do is we'll get back a comprehensive response to that to all the board members, focusing in on choice districts and choice students.
Okay. So if I understand the board, they'd like to go ahead and move forward on this and not wait for that distinction about a choice district. And it'd be interesting to know how many choice districts we're also talking about. I don't know. But, all right, so we've had quite a bit of discussion about it. No one's asked to delay this, so may I please have a motion to accept and adopt the student residency proposal as submitted to our board?
So moved.
Thank you very much. Board Member Keenan, may I please have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Board Member Fenaro. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Any abstentions, please signify by saying so at this time.
I
I'm going to
abstain.
abstain.
I'd like to abstain.
We have 2 abstentions from, who, I'm sorry. We have abstentions from Mary Beth Berry, from Arcilio Aponte, and from, who's the third?
Elaine.
And from Elaine, Board Member Bobrov. Is there, so the count? Could you just reiterate, please? Sure, okay. May I please have a roll call vote, just because we want to, we don't know if we have a quorum for this, so.
Just have to ensure it.
Thank you.
Arcilio Aponte,
Abstain.
Mary Bennett, Mary Beth Berry,
Abstain.
Elaine Bobrov,
Abstain.
Claudine Keenan,
Approve.
Jack Fernero,
Approve.
Ned Johnson,
I'm going to abstain.
Kathy Goldenberg.
Yeah, it's a tie. At best, approved, but it's a tie, 4-4.
1, 2, 3,
So maybe we'll get more information.
3, 4, 1,
Good.
2.
Right? Should we go into exec?
If I could chime in here for a second. I think Diane may want to take a look at what.
We have a discussion going on right now with legal, if you'll give
Okay,
us a
great.
moment, please. Thank you, sir.
I know. Should make a motion to go into executive session. I'll come back. Do you have some cheese?
Yep. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. I would like to request that I have a motion to pause the discussion temporarily while we get some clarification on legalities, different things, and that we move on to the next discussion point and return back to this as soon as we get a few answers. If that's all right with everyone, could I please have such a motion? Who said it?
Second.
I'm sorry, who said so moved? Oh, Board Member Bennett, thank you. And second was made by birthday gentleman, Board Member Fenaro. All those in favor, please say aye. We will return to it.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All right, we'll come back to that. Let's go on to our next item if we may, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. So again, we'll come back to that. Moving to our next agenda item. Today I present at second discussion the readoption with amendments of Chapter 30, Evaluation of the Performance of School Districts. The chapter establishes a comprehensive single accountability system for monitoring and evaluating school districts called the New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum, or NJQSAC. Under NJQSAC, school districts are evaluated in 5 key component areas of school district effectiveness: instruction and program, fiscal management, governance, personnel, and operations. The chapter establishes the standards and criteria used to evaluate school districts. Dr. Jordan Schiff, Interim Assistant Commissioner for the Division of Field Support and Services, and Robert Gregory, Executive Director of the Division of Field Support and Services, are here to present an overview and a follow-up to our discussion from last month.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning once again, President Goldenberg, Vice President Johnson, and members of the State Board of Education. Today, Executive Director Robert Gregory and I will present for second discussion an overview of the department's proposed amendments at NJAC 6A:30, Chapter 30, QSAC, the evaluation of the performance of school districts. As a reminder, this chapter sets forth the rules, definition, and steps the department will undertake to implement NJSA 18A:7A-3, which includes a 3-year evaluation process, placement of school districts on a performance continuum, and periodic progress monitoring of district improvement efforts. QSAC is designed to hold districts accountable for fulfilling statutory and regulatory obligations. The rules of this chapter do not apply to county VOTEC school districts that only provide share time services. It also doesn't apply to educational services commissions, charter schools, or Renaissance school projects. During first discussion at the July 12th State Board of Education meeting, questions were raised regarding QSAC and ESSA. Executive Director Robert Gregory will walk through the distinctions between the two at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Schiff. And good morning, Madam President, Vice President Johnson, members of the State Board of Education. As illustrated on this slide, the department has a variety of accountability systems. The 2017 ESSA State Plan describes 3 overlapping accountability systems that differentiate among schools and school districts. School district accountability is monitored through QSAC, a state-mandated system. School accountability is monitored through ESSA, a federally mandated system. School and district reporting is highlighted through ESSA accountability reports and the New Jersey School Performance Report, which has been issued since 2011 to highlight district and school progress to the public. ESSA and QSAC remain the state's 2 primary accountability systems that serve different purposes. If I can draw the board's attention to the blue circle, our state-mandated district accountability system, QSAC, which is currently inclusive of 65 indicators and requires districts to satisfy 80% of the performance indicators in each of the 5 key areas of school district effectiveness. Districts that do not satisfy 80% of those performance indicators in at least one of those areas must develop a district improvement plan. Our gold circle, ESSA, is a federally mandated system used to identify schools in need of comprehensive and targeted support. Schools are identified on an annual basis, and those that fall in the bottom 5th percentile of statewide performance receive intensive help from the department, which includes additional fiscal support and coaching provided by the department's Office of Comprehensive Support. In 2017, when the department wrote the state ESSA plan, the department purposely identified ways we could ensure CUSAC, ESSA, and school performance reports are more cohesive. That encompassed ensuring we are monitoring similar student performance indicators, inclusive of achievement and growth. Aligning these three accountability systems required an understanding of the purpose of each. ESSA, federally mandated and designed to identify schools in need of support and improvement on an annual basis. CUSAC, state mandated and includes indicators that ensure districts comply with minimum federal and state statutes and regulations on a 3-year review cycle. Finally, school district reporting, which includes ESSA accountability outcomes and school performance reports. The purpose of school and district reporting is to provide the public important information about a school or a school district. Before we proceed and narrow our focus to proposed amendments at Chapter 30, we'd like to give the board an opportunity to ask any questions about the three systems we just discussed.
Should we go back to the three systems? I'm sorry. Thank you. Sure. Thank you. Are there questions at this time about the accountability three systems? District accountability, school accountability, which is ESSA, district accountability, which is CUSAC, and the school and district reporting processes.
Madam President, just wanted to make a
Madam
Oh,
comment.
there is a question from Board Member Aponte, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for this presentation. Just want some clarification and provide some additional insight into particularly CUSAC. This was a tool that was primarily the focus of returning local control of school districts. School districts had to show positive performance in the 5 key areas. So had to pass the 5 performance indicators. And so as we think through CUSAC and its impact on the department, we should keep in mind that this was also a tool that was created to also give us the opportunity to return local control. Is that fair to say?
It is, that's accurate. Thank you for that summary.
Yeah, and just a last point on that, in CUSAC, one of the primary supporters and architects of it was Senator Ron Rice, the certainly esteemed senator who fought many years on behalf of students across the state. Just wanted to mention that certainly he supported CUSAC and it led to us having these tools. So fortunately, we lost them a few years back, but just wanted to pay homage to Senator Rice.
I'm sorry, it's a little hard to hear you. If you could please speak a bit louder, sir. I'm sorry. Could you say it again?
I just wanted to mention that CUSAC was championed by Senator Ron Rice, who over the years was very supportive of returning local control. And unfortunately, we lost Senator Rice a few years back, but this is a part of his legacy.
Thank you. Mary Beth Berry, you have your hand up as well.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Arcelio, thank you for your comments. I did have a question. Why does CUSAC not apply to our vocational technical schools, ESCs? What is the delineation why they are not, uh, uh, monitored by CUSAC?
And let me be clear, it does apply to vocational technical schools unless the only students that they serve are shared time students. So only VOTEC schools that only have shared time students, the district where those students are coming from, of course, is CUSAC. But vocational technical schools are part of the CUSAC process unless the only students that they serve are shared time students.
Okay, so thank you for that clarification. Is that the same reason then the ESCs are tuitioned by their sending school district?
I'm sorry, did you mention APSSDs?
Could you speak a
Yeah.
little more clearly?
I'm sorry. I believe the connection is not good. I apologize. My question is the ESCs or the approved private special ed schools?
Yeah, you can talk to that.
What is, I'm sorry.
We don't know your question. I'm sorry. Say the whole question, please.
I think I caught it. So yes, the answer, this is the same for ESCs. Now, for approved private schools, those are private schools, so they're kind of through a separate mechanism. They're not part of the public school accountability system directly, because those are on a contractual basis with a regulated but private school that is serving those students under contract.
What was the question?
Thank you, Commissioner. Madam President, may I proceed?
Any other questions before we, just give us 1 sec. I want to make sure. And I'm sorry, Mary Beth, I couldn't hear your question, so that's why I asked. I'm sorry. Anybody else have any questions at this time about this? And if not, please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. So as a reminder to the full board, the vast majority of amendments at Chapter 30 are non-substantive in nature and include technical updates and process updates that ensure the code follows the most recent style guide, updates terminology along with citations and references to statute, while removing redundant language and streamlining and clarifying rules, procedures, and operations for evaluating school district effectiveness in our 5 key component areas. The substantive proposed amendments at the chapter's appendices A and B, also known as the District Performance Review, or DPR, add new indicators for new statutory and regulatory requirements, rebalance points to provide greater weight for indicators of more complexity and significance. Additionally, rebalance points from achievement indicators to growth indicators to foster and promote continuous improvement for school districts and boards of education. Finally, rebalance points to ensure we equitably apply our primary accountability tool to all school districts regardless of their grade configuration. In our efforts to harmonize and align New Jersey's accountability systems, it's important to note, while CUSAC is largely driven by school districts' compliance with statutory and regulatory requirements, instruction and program indicators 1 through 7 present opportunities for the department to evaluate whether a district's academic programs are providing high-quality instruction for all students. When viewing existing indicators on Chart A and the proposed indicators on Chart B, I'd just like to gently remind the board that we should be reading these changes vertically instead of horizontally, because they encompass 3 distinct school district types. Our school districts comprised of grade configurations, any grade configurations from kindergarten to grade 8 are listed first in Chart B. Our K through 12 districts are in the middle column. And finally, our 9 through 12 districts are on the far right. As we preview these changes, I also just want to note for all 3 district types at indicator 3 science achievement, we are proposing an equal score of 5 across all 3 district types. And would also just highlight for the board our 3 new curricular indicators that we will be monitoring as proposed for amendment. Finally, just a note, across the state of New Jersey, there's a common vision shared by all educators that all students should have access to a high-quality education. In order to assist school districts in achieving this vision, the department proposes to clarify, align, and simplify our state systems of accountability. With clarity, alignment, and simplicity to federal and state oversight, New Jersey schools and districts will spend less time, energy, and resources on providing evidence of compliance and more time, energy, and resources on teaching and learning and positively impacting the lives of all students so that they have access to the indomitable American dream.
Is this a stopping point potentially as before you leave the chart?
It is, please.
If you don't mind, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I don't know if there are questions looking at the chart. I know in policy committee, we've looked at the chart and discussed that quite a bit. Does anyone have a question before we proceed to the next slide?
Just a comment, Madam President.
Please.
I wanted to thank Director and Dr. Schiff for providing us the additional information, and I'm looking at the rebalancing of the personnel indicator. I do see where the 5-point shifting from 2C down to 6 make the swing such a large gap. So thank you very much for providing the additional information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Board Member Keenan. Any other comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, I don't see any hands up from our remote board members. So please, I'm sorry, please continue.
So in conclusion, the state board invites the public to comment on the current rulemaking at NJAC 6A30. And there's a link that will be provided in the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you very much, Madam
Thank
President.
you. I have one question, if I may, sir.
Sure.
I know in policy committee, you've discussed quite a bit that we've had lots of discussions with stakeholders
Yes.
and meetings with stakeholders. Could you give the board and the public a little bit of information about how many times, how many stakeholders, or anything like that?
So it would be difficult to quantify the number of stakeholders, but we've listened to superintendents in the field. We've listened to media specialists in the field, a variety of educators, inclusive of teachers in the field. I would have to double check to see if there were student and parent stakeholder engagement, but we'll be certain to get back to you on that.
Okay.
Dr. Schiff, would you
Yeah,
like to add anything?
just to echo what Executive Director Gregory was indicating. Superintendents meet directly with the county officials, the executive county superintendent, as well as the executive county business official, to discuss their CUSAC results once every 3 years in person to discuss it. And that's if everything goes well. If things don't go well and you're not a high performing district, you're doing that again in 6 months. Those type of conversations inform the information that we're receiving from our county office staff about what is working, what is not working. We're hearing about CUSAC all the time on this. So I wanted to emphasize that this is a constant process of what we hear. Superintendents are well engaged on this, and the board will hear directly from superintendents today about their thoughts on Chapter 30 as well.
So you're speaking about public testimony?
Yes, the
Right, but
public testimony.
I guess my question was more if you've had meetings at the departmental level
And I just I want to reemphasize Dr. Schiff's response, and that's really for many, many years, the department has taken on kind of a continuous improvement model, and that's about getting and receiving feedback. So that's, it's not always a formal process in receiving that. So it's those constant daily communications between districts and the Department of Education or in our county offices. It's also conversations with education groups and PTA representatives, et cetera. We hear these through an ongoing conversation. And so I think it's through all of those discussions that start to flavor, as we think about this, ways that we can make it a little bit better. So it just, that it builds upon itself. And I also, just if I may, my understanding is there's a fairly robust public comment session planned for today. We've received a lot of comments. I think a little bit too late to be accounted for in today's meeting. And so we want to take all of that feedback that we've gotten from the public, both in written and what we'll hear today in oral testimony, and take that back. And I want to just share that our commitment to the board that we will continue with policy committee meetings to discuss those things, what we've received in detail, both from board members and from the public, and we'll continue that throughout the course of the next month prior to the next public board meeting as well.
Right, and this is as good a time as any to encourage the public to contact via, it's always, possible to send in written comments also. And the department not only looks at that, the board does as well. So it's a good time to mention that. I see Board Member Bennett has a comment she'd like to add to the discussion.
So just so that we're clear, because so much of the work for CUSAC happens through the county superintendent's offices and the districts where the evaluations occur, are you relying on the districts? Because this is a shift, and what's proposed in the chart here adds a component of recognizing progress, which previously was not built into the point situation. We know the points didn't increase, but the distribution has changed. So walk me through what you need from a district that is now going to benefit in terms of reflecting the progress points that previously were not there. What do you expect the districts to do to put that out there so that people understand CUSAC didn't go away, CUSAC hasn't changed, but as we look at goal attainment, which is reaching the cutoffs in ELA, math, science, etc., we're also looking at what districts are doing and accomplishing to show that students are improving and that it's reflected. How is that being messaged back to the districts so that we do get robust public comment?
I think it's a very important question and kind of foundational to this work, Member Bennett, because the most important work that happens is what happens as a result of CUSAC. What are the actions, the activities, the focus that a district is going to have, the change in resources, the resource allocation in order to address particular goals. What we anticipate will be the result of our work here today and the board's work in eventually voting on the changes in Chapter 30 is that the district will continue to focus on student improvement, on student achievement, on all of the curricular areas that they're responsible for. Currently in CUSAC, there are 7 out of the 9 areas that are part of the standards. We're including the other 2, the CLICs, as well as the computer science and design thinking. We're also incorporating a new indicator that catches all of the legal responsibilities that districts have to implement law that comes up in between the time that we're revising CUSAC as well. So we find this to be a more robust but a learned process that we're receiving the feedback from the field about what works and what doesn't work. But the most important work, and I think you hit it right on the head, is the idea of how is behavior changed in a district as a result of their CUSAC scores, and whether or not they are high performing, whether or not they perform below 50 which is very problematic for a particular district. So those are the areas that we believe will help to change behavior and enhance a focus on growth, but also, continued focus on student performance in the aggregate. Thank you for the question.
Because I wrote down what you said earlier about two largest areas of curriculum being ELA and math. So we don't want to lose sight of
Yep.
the emphasis on that as
Our
well.
children spend more time in ELA than they do in any other subject area, and it's very important that our children know how to read and write and do arithmetic, foundational
communicate.
part of our process of education.
Thank you. So hearing no other comments at this time, I believe that we should go into, yes, thank you. I would like to ask the public to please bear with us, and I would like to request a motion to go into executive session, please, at this time.
Need a motion.
So moved.
Thank you very much. We have a motion made, and I appreciate that. Is there a second at this time? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Right, so could the board members on remote, would you please call into the number for executive session? And turn off your cameras and your microphones at this time? Thank you. Done in the big city. Okay. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. I'd like a motion, please, to get out of executive session and go back into public session.
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. A second from Board Member Bennett, I believe. Thank you. All those in favor to go back into, well, to leave executive, and I don't need a separate one to go back into public, right? I might. And to resume public session at this time. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All right, so we're back in public session. We're waiting. Do we have the people who are remote on? I see Mary Beth and Elaine.
Right.
I'm sorry? Okay, and Arcelia's on. All right. So we're back in public session. Thank you so much.
So we're going back to item E, student residency adoption. And so we're going to pick up where we left off.
All right.
Madam President, I'd like to present the student residency adoption for reconsideration.
Thank you. There is a motion on the table for reconsideration on residency adoption at this time. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. There is a second on the table for motion reconsideration at this time. All those in favor, please say. We could do roll call. Could we do a roll call vote? Thank you.
Okay. Arcelio Ponte,
In favor. Yay.
okay. Mary Bennett. Yes. Mary Beth Berry,
Abstain.
Elaine Bobrov,
Approve.
Claudine Keenan. Yes. Jack Venero. Yes. Ned Johnson,
Yes.
Kathy Goldenberg.
Yes.
Okay, your motion to reconsider is approved.
Thank you. And now that we've had that, is there a motion on the table at this time to adopt the regulations as had been presented by the Department of Ed to the State Board of Ed?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Fernaro. Any discussion at this time? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please voice so.
Abstain.
I believe it was Mary Beth Berry and Elaine Bobrov.
No,
Is that correct?
no,
No?
no, I approved.
Oh, you approved. Thank you. Just Mary Beth Berry. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll move on with the agenda then. There are no items scheduled for our work session. Is there any new business at this time? Hearing none? Oh, yes, sir.
I would just like to comment on the excellent job that the Amistad Commission did with their Summer Institute last week. President Goldenberg, myself, and Board Member Bennett all had an opportunity to participate in that session. And once again, I'd just like to thank them for the excellent job that they did in regards to providing training and very worthwhile conference to members throughout all 21 counties in the state of New Jersey.
Thank you. Very important. And also, I was very impressed with the county teachers that were presented to each other and to the department about their excellent service teaching throughout the state, all 21 states. And it was inspiring, absolutely wonderful. And Dr. Schiff led the meeting, but we were just so impressed with everything. So I'd like to say that the teaching was incredible, that they exemplify every day. So may I have a motion, please, to adjourn? Thank you. May I please have a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor, please say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We will be back here at 2 o'clock for public testimony. Thank you.